Okay, I'm giving class now. Thank you so much for visiting me. I appreciate it so much.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Haribo, everyone. I'm a little bit late, but I'm here. It's full on here in Govardhan. It was just, it's kind of busy. I went around Govardhan yesterday with Bhakti-Vigan Swami and about 30 or 40 people. Mostly his disciples, a few people that I know. And I did Nirjal. And then in the evening, I don't know, it was about 6 or 7 o'clock. The grandson of Prabhupada's first disciple, Acharya Prabhakar, his name is. And he's done a lot of service for ISKCON in his own way, but he's trained in the Tantra, not the dirty Tantra or the black Tantra, just Tantra. And he's one of the most powerful tantrics in India. Very friendly, very jolly, about 50 years old. His grandfather was Acharya Prabhakar Mishra, which was Prabhupada's first disciple. Before he came to America, he initiated somebody. And whatever it is, Vikram, who helps me, there was some for auspiciousness. They wanted to do this, what's called Radha Tantra. It's very rare. And they brought like the brass kund. It was about 1.5 meters square. It was, they burned in my courtyard about 100 kilos of wood. And I was going to stay up all night. But when I woke up in the morning, they were still there. It went on till 5:30. And it goes on all night. So I just sat and chanted my rounds there. And then, went to Bhakti-Vigan Swami for lunch and then saw his new project, or his disciples' new project, which is spectacular. The view of Govardhan, about 6 acres, 4,000 trees. It's really going to be beautiful. Walked back and I gave my class. So that's why I'm a little, fasted on Ekadasi. So let's see if I can say anything today. And I'm sorry, I'm so kind of a little, let's see how I do. But I'm so enthusiastic to be in Govardhan because you enter into a reciprocation with Krishna, who's this incredible energy of this mountain. And you feel you stay in a certain devotional consciousness. And it's really like a bob. It's really just so sweet. Of course, Jai Jagannath, he came to see me today. We went both together for lunch with Bhakti-Vigan Swami. Yeah. And my new apartment is ready, and Yasaman, who's now Yavat Sundari, she would come on with her daughter. She's staying there. The apartment is just, Vikram made it just beautiful. We just got to finish the one upstairs, so that's really nice. And it's going to be booked. People are coming. And those of you, some of you help with the, I mentioned, I wanted, the Iranian money, I forgot, it went up 4 times to the dollar. So I asked, because I see it, it's a country, but they don't, some of you can go to temples and it's a lot of pressure being in a country where COVID was rampant and the economy was tanking and there's an authoritarian government and it's illegal to worship God. So it's really, Vrindavan represents oxygen for these people. So I just felt I wanted to help a few. And it really gives them life. And they're still spreading Krishna consciousness there too. So I remember the lady that I'm taking here, the last time she came back to the country, she was interviewed not only by the regular police, but the religious police. Anyway, she hasn't gone in a while. So this gives them life. And anybody else want to give something? We're almost there. Very close, because several people were generous. So anybody else want to help, let me know. And those who help, thank you so much. Okay, let me see where I am. Well, I haven't prepared, but Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. I don't know what it was today. I thought it was a Ekadasi yesterday, but it was packed. The Prikam path was absolutely packed. And it's like a sea of devotees. So that was enlivening. So let me just begin where I was, and it happens to be a verse about Nityananda, and at least here, Nityananda's appearance day is tomorrow. Svānubhāvānande Prabhu Nityananda Roy, prema-dṛṣṭi-vṛṣṭi, cāri dike. In his own ecstatic mood, Lord Nityananda showered everyone in the four directions with ecstatic love by his merciful glance. It's sadhana, but it's not exactly sadhana. It's sadhana, but it's sadhu sanga. Sadhu sanga is the most important thing in Krishna consciousness, because it gives us the enthusiasm for sadhana. Sadhana means that you engage the senses for the purpose of bhava or the purpose of a goal. But we need people who exemplify that goal to inspire us to seek that goal. That's why I'm here in Govardhan. There's sadhu sanga. And I'm relishing that sadhu sanga. Advanced sadhu sanga has three aspects. More advanced, it's not enough. It has to be swajatiya. It has to be supportive of your particular line, same family. And that's not enough too. Sneha. It must be relationship. to create that conduit. Relationship creates a conduit between hearts. And we want that sadhu sanga, that conduit between our hearts and the hearts of pure devotees. So many. I'll show you one thing. It's kind of unusual, but I think I'll show you. We had this one sadhu. He's real. I mean, it's 24/7. It's 24/7, the holy name and preaching. And we invited him. We invited him to the retreat. His kirtan's a little bit. No, wait. Okay, yeah, I know where it is. We invited him to a retreat. And he has an unusual way of kirtan. It's not even the hard. It's just any names, and there's no call and response. He's just Balaram, Radhe. I mean, it's legitimate. It's legitimate. So I'll show you him singing. You'll see what I mean. Pretty far out. That's Sadhu Sanga. He has Baba, such a nice Vaishnava, and we hosted him in our retreat, and he, 2 carloads of people came, and it was really nice. So Nityānanda, his ecstatic love, showered everyone with his merciful glance. We want the wishes of a Vaishnav. We want to please Vaishnavas. Borijan Prabhu says we don't come to the holy Dham because we're qualified to be here. We come because there are people who are qualified to be here, who actually know the Dham and can see the Dham. And really, the Dham, more than anything else, is the people's hearts. I remember when we went on our parikram, I was always concerned when people first come that they have a good experience. So I just took them, I forgot where I went. I was taking them someplace by kirtan. And we passed a fruit walla and his face lit up and his hand, and that's Vrindavan. It's the hearts of the people. And then when those hearts touch your hearts, you start to see everything connected to Krishna. Like in front of my house on one step, it's not that impressive. It's a little worn down houses and sometimes people. So I was worried, what would the people see when they come? But people were in ecstasy in the retreat. And then when I look at it now, I just see everything is the inspiration for Krishna consciousness. Outside, it's just kirtan and people and chanting, and it has an effect. So it's now Nityānanda now is sitting on the throne because he is God. He's also the servant of God. So he's sitting on the throne. And he orders his disciples because one of the bhavs of Dasyaras, one of the anubhavs, one of the actions of love that satisfies one more than anything else is carrying out the order of Krishna through the Guru and the Vaishnavas. That's for them. So he says, he ordered, listen, Raghava Pandit, quickly bring me a garland of kadamba flowers. And they're little white, yellow balls. They're very fragrant. I have the fragrance of Radharani. I'm very fond of kadamba flowers. In fact, I always reside in a kadamba forest. Let me see. Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishora Jivane Marani Gati Aro Nahi More Kandambera Kuli Kali Kandambera.
Morning.
Something. Kali Kadamba, that Krishna would love to stay in a forest of Kadamba trees.
I'll mute you.
Someone is not muted. Let me check and see who it is. Okay. Krishna loved to stay in a forest of Kadamba flowers because it was the color and fragrance of Radha. And so would Chaitanya, because he would want to have the same mood. So of Radha, with folded hands, Raghava said, this is not the season for Kadamba flowers. The Lord then said, go home and look carefully. There may be some blooming somewhere. Raghava went inside the house and was struck with wonder at what he saw. He saw that the lime tree was filled with the most amazing blooming Kadamba flowers. How wonderful is the color and fragrance of those flowers. All one's material bondage was destroyed by seeing those flowers, because they are meant to be offered to Krishna. And when something is meant to be offered to Krishna, its sensual attributes, from its fragrance, its color, its taste, its feel, its sound, they're a representation of someone's heart to offer love. Just like when you go to the Krishna Balaram Mandir on a festival, they may spend $6,000 on flowers, and it's an incredible decoration. You go see the deities and the flowers, and they represent love, and you see them, you feel that. And I mentioned this many times. That's why in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when they have descriptions of the feasts and the preparations. Why? Because it's descriptions of love, and when you see, hear, smell, touch, or feel love, it comes into your heart. When Raghava Pandit saw the Kadamba flowers, he lost external consciousness, became filled with jubilation. Abhuta means wonder. Wonder in Krishna-katha, wonder at the mercy of God, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And wonder is an indirect expression of one's either servitude or appreciation for God. But wonder, when you see the greatness, when you see something amazing, it has a feeling of its own, but really, the taste of it, even though it seems to be something separate in itself, is just an indirect manifestation of servitude or appreciation of God. And therefore, by seeing them and feeling that love, he became so jubilant. And it was so overpowering that he lost his external consciousness. He then checked his emotions and quickly prepared a garland, which he brought to Lord Nityananda. So the purpose of Krishna consciousness is not ecstasy. The purpose of Krishna consciousness is to develop mood of service, and the ecstatic feelings come automatically. But you're not interested in the ecstatic feelings. It's just a result of service. You're interested in the service. And if the ecstatic feelings interfere with the service, then you want them to stop. He then checked his emotions and quickly prepared a garland, which he brought to Nityānanda Prabhu. When Lord Nityananda saw the garland of Kadamba flowers, he accepted it with great satisfaction. So loving exchanges is both giving and accepting. And accepting is also love. If someone gives you like a sweet and you accept it, it's an expression of your love for that person also. So Bhagavapada stopped his ecstasy, made the garland, and then brought it into Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya accepted it with great satisfaction. Kadamba Malera, Gande Shakala Vaishnav, Vibala Hoila Deki Maha Anubhav. All the Vaishnavas became overwhelmed on seeing that wonderful incident and on smelling the sweet fragrance of that Kadamba flower. Vibala means completely overwhelmed. They're smelling the garland of Kadambas and understanding how much their Lord is pleased. And on seeing what happened, shortly thereafter, another most wonderful incident took place. Everyone smelled the wonderful fragrance of Damanaka flowers. The fragrance of Damanaka flowers enchanted everyone's mind. All 10 directions were filled with that fragrance. I get a little tired. Excuse me. Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, brothers, do you smell something?" Everyone folded their hands and said, "We smell the fragrance of Damanaka flowers in the 4 directions." On hearing their words, Lord Nityananda mercifully revealed the secret behind this. Nityānanda Prabhu said, "Listen to this most confidential topic. All of you should understand this." So now he's going to tell a story about the Damanaka flowers that's somehow in relationship with Lord Chaitanya. But we should get the image that there's color, there's fragrance, there's taste, there's sight. And this one is fragrance. Some fragrance is overcoming one. And somehow that fragrance is connected to devotion and the pleasure of Krishna. Makes one ecstatic when one smells it. So here's the story. Lord Chaitanya came today from Nilachal, that's Puri, to hear the kirtan. The body was decorated with a divine garland of Damanaka flowers, and he stayed there for a while, leaning against one tree. So you're expected or can have an image of all this. The 4 directions were filled with the divine fragrance of the Damanaka flowers that was decorating his body. The Lord personally came from Nilachala to see you all dance and chant and kirtan. Therefore, you should give up your other engagements and absorb yourself in the constant glorification of Krishna. So that's the recommendation. Tasmat, whenever there's a tasmat verse, therefore it means the conclusion. And therefore one should chant and hear and always remember Krishna. And then the question asked is what if I don't have that taste? Because this is how the process will really purify the heart. What if I don't have that taste? Then the next verse says, Shushushro Shradhanasya Vasudeva-katha Vasudeva-katha Ruchi Syat Mahat Sevana Vipra Punyacha. Service to the Vaishnavas is a wonderful thing. And by such service, one gets the affinity to hear the stories of Krishna. My mind is half dead. Let me see if I can go. What time is it? Okay, let me see if I can go 7 more minutes. It's frustrating because I can't remember the next thoughts that were flowing. Usually, what happened after I gave a class every day here at 5 to 6, I would have taken a small nap, but some people came to visit me. So I didn't get that nap. I knew I needed the nap. I was going all day long from early morning. So, well, we'll read it together. That therefore you should give up all other engagements and absorb yourself in the constant glorification of Lord Krishna. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says one who's self-realized has no duty, but it doesn't mean one doesn't perform any duties. It doesn't mean one doesn't perform any duties. And it's very clear in Bhagavad Gita that generally one does. Even though prescribed duties are given according to one's condition of material attachment. If you don't have any attachment, then you don't have any prescribed duties. You don't need them for your purification. You've already passed that. But one generally continues in his duty because the principle is one's renunciation, so-called, should not disturb others. I don't know what I'm frank with you, in my mind, may all of you become filled with the mellows of ecstatic love by constantly glorifying Sri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra. After speaking these words, Nityananda loudly chanted the name of Hari. He cast his love-filled glance in all directions. By the love-filled glance of Nityananda Sarup, they all forgot themselves. Oh, brothers, hear about the power of Nityananda and how he distributed devotional service throughout the world. The devotion of the gopis described in Srimad-Bhagavatam is awarded to the people of the world by Nityananda. As Nityananda was sitting on the throne, all of his associates danced. Someone climbed out of the branch of a tree and walked on the leaves, yet he did not fall. Someone roared loudly in ecstatic love and jumped down from the top of the tree. Someone roared loudly as he grabbed the root of the tree and then uprooted it while chanting the holy name of Hari. Someone ran into a betel nut forest, grabbed 5 or 7 trees and sprouted them together. His body was filled with such a powerful ecstatic love that he uprooted these trees as if they were blades of grass. Nityananda's ecstatic love was so powerful that everyone became filled with the transformation of ecstatic love for Krishna described in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, such as crying, shivering, being stunned, perspiring, hairs standing on end, shouting loudly, voice choking, turning pale, thundering, roaring like a lion, and falling unconscious in ecstasy. So by Nityananda's mercy, people got bhava. And what to speak, if you have prema, the reason why the gopis could abandon their children, apparently, I'm speaking about this, just the argument that it's transcendental is not enough. But the reason, Yeah, the reason why the gopis can renounce, one of the reasons is when you're on the level of samadhi, it transcends the buddhi and the manas and the ahankara. So that's where all attachments, all cognizant, so they have no cognizance of anything outside of their focus on Krishna. And that's why when the flute was blown, the gopis left everything. It wasn't that they were being irresponsible. It's just that they had no conception of responsibility. And we also realize that the one who's self-realized, Prabhupada said he's illumined within. So it's a different type of impetus for action. It's not obligatory injunctions. It's Krishna within the heart. And Krishna within the heart, that's where the person will be guided. What Bhagavad Gita shows is mostly when one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna inspires someone and illumines him to continue his duty, but in a mood of detachment. But there are real souls that are able to renounce completely. And there's no sin attached, even if they leave some so-called social obligations, because it's directed by Krishna. And then the response is service to Krishna. And as you water the root of the tree, all the leaves and branches are embellished. So similarly, when one serves Krishna, surrenders to Krishna, Sarvadhamam prityaja mamekam sharanam vijaham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshisami suchaha. When you surrender to Krishna, you're protected. And not only you're protected, others are protected. Because it's auspicious. And Krishna is in control. It's like the wives of the Brahmins. Their husbands were devastated. They were angry. Krishna sent them back. They were apprehensive. Maybe there'll be some honor, punishments, minimal banishment, what to speak of other things that people can do. I'm going to have to stop because I can't remember anything. My mind, I just didn't get a nap today when I needed it. But if anybody, Jamuna Jai, would like to share something, if anything came in this class, I can't say. Okay. All right, Bo.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you for class. First, something a little mundane. When you were urging people to help the Iranian.
Wait. I'm getting spaced out today. I got to turn on the sound. Say what you have to say.
Wait. Let me maybe take these off today. Can you hear me better, Maharaj?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that something a little mundane. Just if anyone's giving to the Iranian devotees, they should be careful putting the word Iranian in PayPal. PayPal flagged my account and asked me to explain what I meant by Iranian. So just if anyone's going to do that, I just wanted to say that since you were urging people against this service, it was kind of creepy.
Okay.
That they, but besides that, I really want to say that I love the concept that Christian consciousness it's about the service. The service brings the ecstasy, and not trying to go for the ecstasy, but go to the service. I really love that point a lot. Thank you, Maharaj.
The ecstasy it just comes along with it because that's what ecstasy is. Ecstasy is love, but you don't do it for love. You do it for the pleasure of someone else, not yourself, but that comes automatically. Okay, someone else say hello. Thank you, Jamuna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's Bhakti Devi.
Hey, Bhakti Devi. Wow.
Look, I'm in beautiful Prospect Park, and it's a beautiful snowfall. I just thought you'd like to see. It's beautiful here this morning.
Wow. Brooklyn people can't believe that that's Brooklyn.
I know, the beautiful concrete jungle.
It seems when it's cold, then it can, the air is cleaner.
It's beautiful here today. Yeah. Thank you so much for class, Maharaj. I hope you get the rest you need.
Well, it's just unusual. It happens.
Yeah.
It's funny because what happens is I'm talking and then I forget what I'm talking about. So it doesn't flow. So it was just an unusual day because I fasted and then I woke up and then I chanted with this powerful tantra thing. I don't know. It seemed kind of, the person was very respectful, very loving, very nice. But he really, he goes all over India doing these things. So
Sounds
anyway,
great.
it's kind of like the fire yoga also to invoke auspiciousness for my kind of, I don't know if it's like a house, but it's 5 apartments. So Joe Kelly can tell you how beautiful, how good the apartments were too. So
yeah, I can't wait to come.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I'm going to probably have to have 2 retreats and people have to choose between Puri and Govardhan. So, okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Henry. You asked me to remind you of that wonderful devotee.
Okay, thank you, Henry. You gave me something to speak about. Oh, thank you, because I need something like that. Well, some of you may know, but there was this great devotee at Gitanagari called Bali. And Bali was a very pious African-American man from the South someplace. And, he told me how he became a devotee. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Henry. Okay. Wow. Well, I'll tell you something. He was so pure. I once was in Vrindavan. Thank you. This will give me something to talk about. I'll feel better about myself in the class today. But I met Mother Indrani, who was another, pious African-American lady. Deva Swami told me that the demographic of the most religious people in America are African-American ladies. And she was and she was also would have been in her 80s too.
90, yeah.
90s maybe. And so I saw her in Vrindavan and I said, what are you doing here, Mother Indrani? And she said, well, I came to Vrindavan, but because I'm crippled, I really can't go on parikram, because she couldn't walk. I said, I have a bus, get all your god brothers and god sisters, and I'll take you all on parikram. So I took them to Govardhan, and we drove the bus up to the side of Govardhan. It was raining, and then Mother Indrani got out, and she put her hands in front of Govardhan Hill and said, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. It was like so beautiful. So then we got in the bus, I started explaining that the nature of Govardhan is wherever you are, you feel the presence of this hill. I said, Bali, it's just like when you're in the barn in Gitanagari, don't you feel the presence of Radha Damodar? And he says, I feel the presence of Radha Damodar here. I was, wow, wow, Bali. So then what happens is they want to go to Radhakund. So 2 of her godbrothers carried her and we started doing kirtan. In Radhakund, where everybody's chanting 64 rounds and all the sadhus. And Bali, I have to answer this. 1 second. Okay? Please wait 1 second. Maharaj? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You send the books to me. He's coming to my room on the 15th. Right. And if he can't take him, then I'll go. Then I'll bring him. That's one thing. And I'm saying tomorrow we want to have lunch with Ian, but will we have private or we'll eat with everybody else? It's Nityananda's appearance day. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Marge. Hi, Bo. Okay. So Bali is dancing in ecstasy. There's so much love and ecstasy on his face. And I'm going to say this. The people in Radhakund were stunned. They never saw such ecstasy in their life. I swear to God. They were just, he's so pure and devotional. And he was dancing as we were going, to Radhakund. They were staring. They just never, I just thought, like, these people are here all the time. They've never seen anything like Bali. That was my impression. And then we went down to the Kund, and they carried Mother Indrani down to the Kund, but she couldn't go in the water, and they couldn't, but it started to rain. And we got water soaking wet. And a sadhu came. When it rains in Radhakund, it rains Radhakund. So, that was it. And, Bali had a certain wisdom. One time he was on Parikram. He was on Parikram in Mayapur, right? And some leader there was taken around and said, you see that village, there? We need that kind of land, so we're going to buy all the land from the village. And Bali said, why don't you just make them all devotees? A simple kind of wisdom. And no, he was just such a special person, my God. And then, and my famous, I've told this story many times here, the way he became a devotee is Bhakti Tirtha had a radio show, and then he was driving a taxi. And then he became his driver in Washington, D.C. And when he became his driver in Washington, D.C., somebody came up to him. Bhakti Tirtha Swami got in the car in the morning, and there was like a rock in this windshield where it was kind of splattered. And like when you throw something, it kind of breaks up. You can see if someone throws a rock or something, right? So he said, Bali, what's that? What happened? He said, and he had that southern accent. He said, well, in the morning, someone came to my cab, stuck his gun to the window, and said, your money or your life. Well, I told him, if Krishna wants to kill you, no one could save you. And if Krishna wants to save you, no one could kill you. I started shooting the gun. So he was a special, and one time he played a trick on me. He said, you want to come see the cows, right? I said, yes. He said, watch this. And every year I would come, he would do the same thing. He would go like this. Moo, moo, moo. And all the cows would come to him. I thought it was amazing. Then one year he did it. He said, Marge, you want me to show you why they're coming? And then he had some sugar for them. I mean, he was great. He was so pure, such a sweet person. I got many messages too. Baladev Vidyabhushana, who was in Gita Nagari, yourself, others. One of the greats, Henry. Pure devotee, for sure. That's great. And he died in Gita Nagari, right? Radha Damodar brings back all the great souls there. Mother Kalini, Bali. Why don't you make them all devotees? Wow. And don't you feel the presence of Radha Damodar in the barn? When you're in Radha Damodar, I feel the presence of Radha Damodar here. It's like very advanced. Okay, Henry, great remembrances, right? Going to Gitanagari and seeing him, the greats. Borijan Prabhu said the next decade will be a decade of tears because all the great souls are going to be leaving in the next 10 years. It's just, you know, and I was just remembering this morning, great souls, for example, like Rasagya. Remember her? And, you know, there's just so many, what to speak of Jamuna. There's so many incredible souls. We can go on and on that touched our hearts, that were really had love and devotion and bhakti, you know, like it's great. Joe Cayley had such a great time here in Govardhan. And it was all the mercy of the hug that Jamuna gave him when she's, you know, because you invited Joe Cayley at your house when Jamuna had the 20th anniversary of Banabihari, and cooking for 2 weeks different fused ghees, and you were so kind that you invited me, and the I don't know the guest of honor, but the two speakers were me and Bhakti-tirtha Swami, and somehow you invited Joe Cayley to be her assistant, and then years later she saw him and she called him over. She gave him a big hug. I think there was a transference of bhakti because that's really something. Anyway, Henry, thanks for bringing that up. It gave me a chance to speak on something because my mind is half asleep somehow. It's just, you know. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello? I'm more up now.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. I just wanted to say thank you so much for dedicating a nice portion of your class to Bali Maharaj today. And it was especially sweet to hear that pastime at Radha Kund.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ecstatic. I still remember him just dancing with such ecstasy, not artificially, you know, every bone of his, so happy, so sweet, and the people were affected. So, yeah, Gail, you visit Gitanagari many times too, so that's nice. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you couldn't see Bali just even once without him carving a place in your heart. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. He's a rare soul.
Yeah.
And Mother Indrani too. I mean, these people were like,
yeah, same.
They were pious, like they had such natural devotion. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here.
Kishori Radha in Priya.
Haribo. Haribo.
Thanks for the memories of Bali.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gumaraj.
Where are you headed?
We're going to Bhakti-Banda.
Wow. Anybody else going?
Yeah, Tota and Kishori and Sri Rupa and Chanda, Gopa and Jaya and Rama. People.
Wow, it's a great group, right?
Yeah. It's great.
I'm in Govardhan. I'm saying, wow, I wish I could go because it's so wonderful to visit there, isn't it? Yeah. It's really fun to look for. It's like super spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
Serving. And I like this because it helps me to develop my relationship with them. They're so appreciative of my disciples coming up there. And now there's kind of a relationship, right?
Yeah, they're really, they're amazing people. And we haven't seen their deities yet. They put their deities, they got their deities. So we're excited to see deities. They had that whole seva set up, the deities. So it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm coming back the day after Gaur Purnima.
Okay.
I'll probably have a program in Jai Shri Radhe's place.
Okay. Great.
You know, And then right after that, I go off to Colombia. Yeah, for the retreat. Okay. Okay. Well, give my regards to Rasik Mohan. Okay, tell him you spoke to me today. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Great. Good. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Nityānanda.
Oh, Hemalatarada, Haribo. How are you planning on coming to Colombia?
Yes, Maharaj.
I think they're reducing all the, there was a WHO travel advisory that said that they should stop all travel restrictions based on COVID. That was the advisory they sent. It's not widely publicized, but I have it. So the World Health Organization, which is, pushing all this, they're saying, there shouldn't be any restrictions anymore. Or they said, if you what? What's that?
Thanks for that information, Maharaj. I'll check on
it's still some time, but Jai Jagannath now will probably come too to the retreat. So we'll have wonderful.
Great.
And Manu is going to come too. So he's another wonderful kirtanier. So let's see. Okay, Haribo, anybody else?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for the beautiful class. Thank you.
Your mother is flying.
Yeah.
She's so high, you can't imagine it. It's so great. She comes every day. She does service for me. Tomorrow, she's going to go to Rajvasundar and cook. It's Nityananda's appearance day. They're going to provide her a kitchen, so she's going to cook. So for every day, she's walked around Govardhan. She did fasted on Ekadasi.
Wow.
Yeah, she's really, and she comes to my class every evening and does service, and she's staying in the new apartment with a girl your age. So she has like a really nice girl, and it's a great place. She's staying there, so it's really worked out nice. Good, Haribo.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. It's all your mercy. Thank you.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
How are you doing? You still a little sick?
Yeah, still a little sick, but I don't know. Kind of is what it is right now.
Call the doctors?
I'm going to call the doctors about maybe noonish today.
Okay, do that. Okay.
Yeah.
They'll send you something. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Okay, I hear Narmasaki. Haribo.
Haribo. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the class.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
This is Lajas. Sheila, just wanted to say hello and thank you for the class.
Haribo, nice to hear from you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, of course.
Great. They're starting to reduce these COVID mandates and things like that, so that's good. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Hema Gauri. Thank you for your class.
Hema Gauri, nice to hear from you. Good.
Thank you.
Who else? Okay, I'm just look at the list. I see everybody that's coming, so I always know my audience. Thank you all. Scrolling down, seeing everybody's name. Okay, thank you all. Great. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpadurvasya.